I've been calling this a writing workshop, and I realize that it's a mistake to call it that. But I can't really figure out what to call it. Writing workshop just sounds like a little too like school or like really serious, or I mean, it's serious in a way, but like I said, this is. There aren't really a whole lot of rules here in this writing workshop. I learned about these few kind of simple guidelines from Natalie Goldberg, who wrote a book called Writing Down the Bones, which I read in 1985. And Natalie Goldberg lives in Santa Fe now, is a Jew, but I think more of a Buddhist than a Jew in her religious practice. And she approaches writing from the Buddhist perspective and calls it writing practice. And the idea is that she has this concept of wild mind and first thoughts. And the idea is to follow your mind. All of you have wonderful, excellent minds. And in this way of writing, the idea is to trust your mind and follow it where it goes. So grammar is not important. Spelling is not even in the picture. Punctuation is totally optional even. And the idea is to keep your hand moving. Because we all have this voice that Natalie Goldberg calls the editor, which is telling you that you can't write, or that what you're writing is no good, or it's not good enough. And that's what kills the whole thing. So, and I think we all have that voice telling us all the time that we're not good enough. But it certainly is operating when we're writing. So, one of the ways to the editor gets to have his or her say later on. So you can go back and rewrite what you've written if you want to, or edit it, or add punctuation or whatever. But that comes later. We're looking for the fresh, original element of being in the present moment, because this moment has never existed before. So I want to show you what my writing looks like. It doesn't scare you too much. So I just throw these away when I fill them up. I mean, I can't read it. But I've also been part of a writing group since 1994. And I try to write digitally, but I don't really obey the margins, and I don't use punctuation. So we just want to be loose with this, and there's absolutely no judgment. I kind of feel like to write something well, you have to be willing to write crap, to not be too concerned about if it's good or bad. And I have found that each person's life is so fascinating. We heard these amazing stories today, and everybody's life is an incredible story that's completely unique. There isn't another person with that story, and it's a story that everybody would love to hear. So I'm thinking what we'll do is one of the parts of this is the timer, so we do timed exercises. And I think we'll do 2. So we'll start with a 10-minute write. I asked my daughter, who teaches writing, for a good prompt. And she said, give them 2 colors. So that will be the prompt, purple and orange. And whatever comes to your mind, just keep writing, and I'll let you know when 10 minutes is up. And then people who want to share will be able to. And then hopefully we'll have time to do a second, slightly longer write.
What are the 2 colors?
Purple and orange.
You want to combine them together? Just one?
Whatever.
Just whatever comes out of it.
Exactly. Stefan, you want to come into the circle?
Sure.
That'd be great. I know. Okay, let's try that. And then I guess it just means our next grade might be a little shorter. Okay, Stefan, and what we'll do is the people who want to read can read, but we won't give them any feedback at all. Okay.
I cheated. The purple of the royal and the orange of the sky, the orange of the rich tapestries and the purple of doves. Leopoldo and Sophia, the ancestors beckon. Llano, río, montaña, los ancianos me hablan. The whispers of the past become present. Alamosas de ríos, corrales, jardines, los hogares de lo obediente. Yo soy el hijo de Nuevo México y soy el hijo de Israel. Estoy lleno, estoy alegre, estoy aquí. Cool summer watermelon in the grass, listening and enjoying the dust.
Okay, I'll do next. Purple, the color of queens and royalty, has always been my favorite, one of my favorite colors. When I was 10, my grandmother asked me, what are your favorite colors? I answered, purple and pink. 1937 to work for New Mexico Timber Company and would come back to St. Paul for visits to find a Jewish wife, which he did, and came back to New Mexico to start a family. After being a single man in New Mexico for 6 years, living in Bernalillo and Jemez Springs, his work as a forester took him all over the villages of northern New Mexico. There were Lebanese families who became merchants and whole Jewish families from Germany who migrated in the 1800s, who settled and became shopkeepers and business people. I have pictures from his early days, and as the keeper of artifacts from my family origin, I have been tasked with compiling the stories of his early days in New Mexico. And then I ran out of time.
We'll just go around and say, you can read or say.
I don't really want to be putting any of those patterns in my writing. My favorite colors growing up was all orange, and my favorite color stays orange, and my favorite color is purple. So it was fun.
And please say your name before you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Favorite color purple, but not wearing it today. Not feeling royal, but just a sense of equal, common folk. Wearing instead like a Galapagos blue footed UV t-shirt and wrinkled drab green pants. Orange is not a color I would ever wear unless forced to. Orange is juicy, cold, fruit. Purple and orange never together. Flash, flash. Now that I'm 83, I don't really care what clashes. In fact, I go for what does not usually go together. Flowers, stripes, polka dots, who cares about matching colors? I can be free of that concern. Now to get back to why I'm here today and why. I hold back. And why I hold back. I love the storytellers and the complications of lives not my own, but still somehow familiar. So here I go, connections. I am also connected to this complex and varied circle of people.
And I missed the full assignment, so I wrote down the questions of the weekend.
Let's hear it.
I don't know. Sure, but my first, what is it acoustic to? What's my question? How can Jewish people come to understanding that the Jewish people began this journey, which includes all people? We tend to put blame on which we don't understand, and so being the Jewish people voted for Christ's death, they have a persecuted sense, but not only at that time, but the history when it began.
That's fine.
My experience has nothing to do with this part of this. I can use the my mom and dad came
Would you speak a little more?
Yeah, you can use a microphone. Yeah, the mic would be good.
Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay. My experience has nothing to do with the Sefardí festival. I came here to learn about it. My mom and dad came here from Bangladesh. I was born in Pennsylvania. After a year, I moved to Virginia, where I lived for 30 years. And then I came to New Mexico 4 years ago. My parents are modern Muslims, so I know a few liturgical Arabic words. Being interested in history and geopolitical relations, New Mexico with Jews fascinate me. Anything religious also intrigues me, whether it be theologies, beliefs, practices, identities, cultures, architecture, organizations, land use, art, motivations, etc. I also like North Central New Mexico because the land of enchantment is a land.
I don't know if I need the microphone. Can you hear me? That's fine? Or should I use the microphone?
is purple? What is orange? The color purple is a combination of red and blue. I like purples that tend toward the blue on the spectrum, but light purples or lavenders work well for me too. I like seeing sunsets with the light purple glow being sometimes the last light I'll see. I think I like indigo so much because it has shades of purple in it. I find myself loving purple shades of lavandula, the Latin for lavender, and purple lupines in the June fields of New Hampshire and in the Texas bluebonnets I see when hiking in the bowl of El Cerro de Los Lunas Hill. That bowl is the remnant of a volcano located in an area that is still seismically active. The rim of the bowl is the crust of what once was a volcano, spewing out bursts of orange lava onto the fields below it. That orange flow is so hot that it consumes everything in its way, from core metals to rocks. Orange as it produced from, orange as it produced in some ways is like purple as it combines red but with yellow, not blue. Funny how orange and purple are so opposite from each other, but also so complementary. Maybe orange and purple can teach us all something so very basic, that we may be diametrically opposed from each other in a multitude of ways, but we can be complementary if we try. My little granddaughter, who loves to draw, doesn't favor oranges yet, but she's so fond of purple.
I'm going to pass.
Orange, glad you didn't let it. Aren't you glad I didn't say banana? Reminds me of that old joke, knock knock. But really, if you know something about me, you might know I have at least two modes: serious and what I call delirious or funny. Really kind, respectful humor. I need to be honest here. It's my birthday, and I'm happy to be here. Something to be. That may be a bracelet for me that says love. I wanted one to remind me that I'm loved always. We need that, to know that. So you too also are loved. Just because you exist. It's our birthright, no matter what the shamer blamers told us. Try to influence it, but my hand's getting tired, but not too tired and loved. Also thinking about doing or making bracelets also for belongs, wonder. I made years ago. I'm getting a call and I'm ignoring it. Must be my sister. Stop ringing. Thank you. Also, one that says, not fabulous, but what about harmony? To remind me of our power to heal through words, energy, vibrations, and to use it. Also, art in all forms can be so healing. And the politics of now try to ignore, forget, make us forget that it makes us think it's just pretty.
The colors of the Ed Pavilion, freaking Monica, Can I Lead, Got Orange, 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 Aren't You Glad I Didn't Say Banana, Vietnam, Bloated, Purple Mountain Majesty, Purple Range, Slopes, Sloping, not Sandia, but yes, I like orange, Fashion, Regal, Royal, Blue is Purple, Eggplant, RuPaul's Drag Race, what's the name of that queen? Sugar Cane, Azúcar, La Negra Tiene Tumbao, orange sunflowers, egg yolk, orange tangerine, orange crush, crush la castellana, just like mine last month. Oh, Katrina. Katrina.
Okay, I wasn't going to read, but I figured, what the heck. Purple and orange are part of the color wheel. Both colors are secondary colors and complementary to yellow and blue. Primary colors starting out, meeting purple, is a combo of the first two primary colors of red and blue. Thus, one can get so many shades of purple, from the softest lavender to dark purple, going into burgundies. They are the color purple, the color of royalty of the past. Many flowers take on this color on all its shades. And now, orange, which is also comes from a combo of two primary colors, red and yellow. Thus we get Trump orange. Again, orange starts in its lighter shades of peaches into terracottas, and then on into burnt orange or brick orange. And yellow, in the floral spirit of flowers, is that they are accent flowers, colors, to bring brightness together with yellow and other colors. They bring sunshine to the bouquet.
Okay. You talking.
Well, thank you. Orange and purple. The purple of compassion infiltrates my troubled heart. I wear it as a plastic patch over my t-shirt, a reminder that there is a heart beneath. My heart is hiding from orange, the greedy gang leader of violence and destruction. His holiness orange is the color of fire, who gives birth to brother smoke. Flight now, they live together side by side in a place called Gaza. My purple patch pulls at my skin. It is particularly pulling away my flesh off the bone. In a survival mode, my purple patch slips down through my body to the ground. Is it looking for a stream of orange? A stream where all violence and hopelessness dissolves into stars? Stars that comfort the child who has lost everything but the ability to dream. Stands that have descended from the place by the hand of God. Can possibly reach orange, the god or goddess of fire, is wanted waiting behind the curtains for a signal to ignite, for the right time to challenge peace and brotherhood and sisterhood. Holding each in one hand, the magic trick is to ignite them, colors as thought, as a piece of conjoining, knowing that the river contains the flow. I hope.
I'm thinking we have until 3:30 or maybe a little. The band's going to come set up around 3:30 or 3:45. So we have until then. The plan was to do a closing circle at 3:15, but I'm thinking we should just keep writing. Is that one? That's amazing. Okay, so let's do 15 minutes. That was the warm-up. The prompt this time is alternating sentences. I remember, I forget. I remember. So the idea is to write. I remember blah 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 blah. I forget blah 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 blah.
I remember the eccentricity is the point of existence. I forget the divine meaning that drafted the soul contract, covenant, or primary pact. I remember that the human experience is temporary. I forget what the kingdom of heaven is like. I remember that we're primarily spirits. I forget what it's like to be holy and be real. I remember that our human form is a vessel. I forget because I have existential amnesia. I remember that I signed up for this amnesia that spans various lifetimes. I forget because vibration descended. I remember that the frequency at which we vibrate must ascend. I forget what that path looks like. I remember that this exodus takes us back to paradise, our original home. I forget how it feels to transcend dimensions. I remember that we must eventually arrive at post-dimensionality. I forget that the fragmentation is impermanent. I remember that post-scarcity is an illusion. I remember that separation is an illusion. I forget how hard it is to rise above various influences. I remember that it must be done.
I'm still lobbying, I still pass.
My name is Sophie. I remember as often as I can who I am, who we all are, especially I am the same, disguised in bodies, and I had to stop to take the 3 p.m. dose of replacement cortisol that keeps my body alive. So I rarely forget about my body. I practice regularly with others to remember my body is energy and extends beyond what can be physically seen, and that this and all bodies are actually stepped down light. I love practicing meditation, experiencing my body as light, as this resonates with the truth which I experience joyfully. And when I am doing so much to care for this body that is home to the everlasting me, I am so very grateful for the grace of living in this one body, even while being so near death so many times. I remember the spider that told me I was dying and being reborn in the same body but different. When I identify too much with my body, I forget to remember who I am, sometimes, often, and now more often I listen to what I am thinking and saying inside and remember to change my mind, my thoughts, to smile so I don't become as critical of my forgetting and feel grateful for my remembering. This remembering and forgetting, remembering, is a flow along the spiral of life, as in this moment of eternal life, not life and death. The body, so far perishes. The spirit dwelling within is an eternal member of this, the pulsating and of all that is, was, is becoming, and we can choose how we are becoming. We can remember or forget, and yet what is. And for me, in this moment, there is peace in this, because I am. I said I am, and no, it's not I am. It is my brain memory. Something has seemed to shrink. Our brain center has seemed to shrink with the something replacing cortisol dose, and I am, no, it is I. It is forgetting in a way that feels disturbing when I remember later what I wanted to say or do, and now the thing has passed, the timing has passed, and I must let it go. And maybe on another opportunity will or won't come around in the forgetting and remembering and doing my best.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I remember my parents laughing at my failed spelling test, saying, "Look, Bill, she spells everything like it's a Spanish word." I forget learning when I was taught how to read and write in Spanish. I remember longing to speak with mis abuelos, tíos, tías in my native tongue, but I forgot how to untwist it enough to speak. I remember fighting tooth and nail to be able to be entered into a pilot program to teach 6th graders in my elementary school Spanish. I forget why I was denied. I remember the migraines I got visiting my family, being a walking translator for my sisters and cousins. I forgot the smell of my abuela's apartment or the taste of her cooking. I remember first hearing Spanish spoken by a family other than my own. I forget what they were talking about, and even if I could understand the conversation.
I forgot to say my name before. I'm Barbara Weinstein, and I remember that I need hearing aids. I remember the pandemic, how it curtailed my entry into Nahalat Shalom community. My friend was teaching a class and called me to join because he knew I was looking for a Jewish community and recommended the class as a way of meeting with a community he thought would be a good fit. He gave me the name of Gloria Hale, who arranged the class. I enjoyed the class. Gloria introduced herself to me afterwards, and she said, Gloria with a Y, and it reminded me of James Bond saying, my name is Bond, James Bond. So let's see, she took me under her wing and introduced me to Nahalat events, and to ensure that I went, she picked me up in her car. I remember feeling both quite at home and, something with the Jewish community. I felt strongly that these are my people, interesting, artistic people with whom I feel a kinship. I was, it was November of 2019, and then the pandemic struck. I wanted to still stay connected to the community, so I participated on Zoom. So many lovely people. Robin and Clem leading a meditation group on Monday nights. Something was an awakening, a spiritual connectedness, and I had not felt since my days at a Jewish camp in Colorado, which I went to from ages 8 to 15 and then became a counselor. I now try to write about forgetting. I do not want to forget anything that I have experienced in my life. I have boxes of journals. I want to write more and save all of them in more boxes.
My name is Estella. I remember the smell of your sweat mixed with the smell of the pipe tobacco that your daughters would sneak to you when Mama wasn't looking. And I remember the butterscotch lifesavers that were always in your pocket. I remember your large, rough hands, your well-worn overalls, and their earthy smell of work. I remember your glasses, your old Chevy truck that we would ride in to go to town, and the pearl-colored Stetson that you were so proud of, your church hat. I remember the farm you made, the house you built, the rooms, the very space that you made for all of us. I remember the tears my mother wept when you went away from this life to memory. I close my eyes and I remember all of these, yet I forget the sound of your voice. I forget the faces of the heroes of your family stories. I forget the world that you knew and that knew you, but I remember to mourn the empty that I felt when I realized you were gone.
Cool, I'm Rick, and I remember and I forget. I remember my past life. I have many good memories and stories told by my grandmother, stories from my mother, things they remember. remembered from their past thus became part of my memories. Stories of ancestors, other people of the time here on earth. I remember dates going back 3 centuries of births, deaths, and family. When asked, why do I remember so much about these people, my ancestors? I was told, you never knew them. Why are you keeping in touch with them? Which I answered. If you don't know where you came from, how are you going to know where the hell you're going in life? So remembering good things. My last name, Romero, which is an herb of remembrance. Our memory can be a very positive part of our life. What I forget, I don't care to remember all the pain I've suffered in my past life, physical and mental. I know that there was pain, but the mind erases it. All I forget, I am a senior citizen. Till it comes time for senior citizen discounts. Then I wake up and remember my age, but it's soon forgotten. As I ask God for a new, happy soul, that's where it ends. It's all forgotten.
Hi everyone, Katrina again. Disclaimer, there's a couple of F-bombs in here. Okay, I remember, I forget. I remember my dreams. Dreams from when I was little, dreams from yesterday, last night. I forget. I forget how cruel I can be, dismissive, cold, taciturn, curt. I forget my own beauty. I remember. I remember the 5th of November. Too many pop culture references. I forget. I remember St. Mary's schoolyard, cold asphalt, singing by myself in the play yard because I was, and the odd one out. I wanted to act, to sing, to be seen, to put on a play show. I remember how we went to the synagogue on Indian school. I loved music. I still love liturgical music. I remember playing the piano in church. Really, it was just the pew. My grandmother, though quite strict, allowed this freedom. The bench was my piano. I tried to forget the loneliness. I tried to forget that this motherfucker is always present, so that I always fucking remember my solitude. I remember my thoughts. Brazil. I remember Fernando. Siempre será celebrada. You'll always be remembered. The first Portuguese novel I started but still haven't finished. I forget. Forget that I'll die one day. Ha ha ha. No, I don't. I am reminded. Remind myself daily and weekly of this. Does this count as a memory? Remembrance? I remember so much that I forget to live. Remember that I want to play with this prompt now. Remember. To reassemble? The parts like Frankenstein? A member of what? I don't know. A party? Nah, fuck that. A family? Sometimes. Can I remember when we were one? Never. I forget. Forget that I still have dreams, hopes. I remember when these still felt large, the world vast, as big as the sun. I forget when they began diminishing. When life, or is it me, who slowly chipped them away to nothing?
I remember the time, though I don't see a clock right now. I remember my mom who died in December 25th, 2023. I remember, I keep thinking I don't. I don't understand. It's possible for her to die. Even at 98 and a quarter. Wow. Long day's life. I miss her. And yet there is a freedom in not having to be home or somewhere to call her. Or call her at 2 between 2 and 3 o'clock. She was always busy. I forget why people die. It makes me no sense. Why? Why? Of course I understand on some level, not on the wrong level. And the love doesn't ever end, I remember. But the hugs and the seeing her in the flesh, I miss her. And remember that Todd, who died, brother-in-law, this year, just a year ago, and he and my mom had the same birthday. It was hard not getting involved from Mom today. She used to call me first thing in the a.m. on my birthday. Today gave me, I got a gift as if it were from my mom. So sweet. We were going to go to the water today, but the wind came up. So we walked in the bosque instead. My daughter, 16, is 16 years old, and she stayed home. I worry about her. I forget if worry is its own healing block. God's in all of us. When we uncover our facades, are we capable? We are capable of magnificent healings when we remember to forget. What I think we can't know. Remember, forget what we don't or can't know. Why do we forget? What is the plan for what is his plan? He knows on our faces we are powerful, or can be, if we uncover our political power, our pain path, and open to the light. Happy Hora Netzah. This year my birthday is on this one, on this day. I was born on Netzach of Yesod. A friend, something, said she thinks that it made sense for me. So I would like to remember to sit up without being, with better position more. I would have probably hated it as a kid that someone would tell me to sit up. Posture has a lot to do with health, or can have, but we forget. Now I want to remember the phone call from back. Maybe it's a fake call. It's election time, not now. They come to your door, they come to your phone. And they forget to at least, then they forget to leave us alone.
I just came for the Pignon, but I'm enjoying, it sounds like remembrances and things like that. I think, well, I came across something on my phone the other day, it's very short. It says, evermore, just before I close my eyes in death, after a life well lived, I'll have forgotten the way I take my coffee. I might have already forgotten my name, but just as my eyes are closing, they will still search for a shadow in the shape of your frame. Whatever journey my soul goes to next, I hope you are there. Marlis.
I'm Hershel. I remember Nancy on the tightrope. I forget her name. I remember the dance. I forgot the steps. I remember the beginning of the festival when Leo was flapping his arms like a bumblebee and attacking the canvas. Nobody can talk now, he said. Now you can talk, he said. He set the tone by crying, by breathing art like a bitter candy. I forget when I met him. I met him in some church on high holidays. My feet were broken. I was in a wheelchair. Soon he wanted to paint me. I remember Esteban lighting the vela for his ancestors. I remember him getting a new kippah, bending his knees to lower himself down. For the priestly blessing by the women pulled back from death's door, breaking their bones in the automobiles of death and falling, hip break, and then the other side. I remember Sandra sparking out the Spanish version, spitting the words into gasoline air, making the English more understandable. Spanish is the formal room, and Ladino is the kitchen table. I remember Jean-Jacques telling me stories. I remember they were about Johar. I couldn't understand the words she said, but I loved the stories. I understood them, even though the kitchen language, Ladino, was kept from me like a marching band on the beach at Otay. And then she read my fortune in Turkish coffee grounds at the bottom of the cup. Drinking black Turkish coffee before I got 8. I remember Demetria. She said she couldn't reduce her Jewishness to scraping her tongue. I forget everything before it's too late. I forget the things I remember. I remember shaking at dawn and shaking again before night. I shook and I shook and it something. Always the Inquisition waiting to be forgotten. I never forgot. I never forgot I'm a Jew, even though I sometimes felt like the barber must feel at the end of the day. Donde estaba Jean-Jacques? Where was she at Passover? Where was she when they taught me to put on tefillin and passed out the centuries of shame? Donde estuvo Jean-Jacques in her green visor, gambling the cards, smearing stomacha on my belly, a mixture of whiskey, melted butter, and breadcrumbs to cure stomach aches? Where are the tomatoes she put on my eyes?
Teresa, I remember wanting to travel near and far ever since I can remember. I forgot where I thought I might go, but I knew it was far. I remember packing my bags when I was 10. I forget if I went somewhere that day, when I first put all the clothes I liked in a suitcase. I remember a trip to New York City with my family around that time. I forget the year, but I remember we were only 4 in our nuclear family of that time. I forget if my late brother pulled some shenanigans then, but somehow I'm still sure he did. I remember no one helped me pack my bags then. I forget just how many useless things I put in those bags. I remember I never felt afraid to travel, though I forget many details of my first trip from Florida to Michigan. Yet I remember the joy I experienced when I saw snow for the first time, when I made a snowball from it, and when I delighted in sharing my joy with my not much younger brother. I forget if you were joyous then, sadly. I remember when my youngest sister came along in 1970. I forget when my grand-auntie Kay from Ireland got sick. I remember my mom was in the hospital giving birth to my youngest sister when my auntie was in the hospital sick from a rare leukemia. I forget how I was able to pronounce the words. I remember that I did. Monocytic leukemia, a mouthful for a kid that was a little over 9.5 years old. I forget what day it was, but I remember that my brother and I visited my aunt, sister, and mom in the hospital and saw a sign that Holy Cross Hospital needed money for its building fund. I forget how we landed on this idea. My brother, our neighbor down the street, of my brother's age and I, but we did. I remember that we decided we would raise money for the hospital, and that we did by hosting a carnival that brought in $10.47 in the summer of 1970. I don't remember what kind of Cadillac it was. But my dad drove us in that car and let us go into the hospital ourselves to donate the little money we had raised. I forget how we found the right person, but we did. I remember how surprised the woman who accepted our meager coins was to see youngsters like us.
Okay, awesome. That's the end. They're gonna set up, if you feel like helping, we need to set up chairs facing the stage. But before that, I'd like for us to just stand up and hold hands and have everybody just maybe say a few words. I really like culture.
Sharon, amazing person.
Belonging community scene.
You can do that.
Peace, peace, peace.
Shalom, Shalom. Wish you peace.
Accepted